But yeah, first of all, guys, thank you very much for joining. And in the second episode now of what has been dubbed the XP Lounge, our little Friday podcasts.
No
Uh,
worries, glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
yeah, tonight's topic is video game difficulty, and I think all of us like we've played FromSoft games, but we've also played other games, and like every time people mention difficulty, FromSoft always comes up as it's like the first thing. Like back in the day, it was like Ninja Gaiden. I don't know if any of you guys played that one.
Yeah, I played it on the OG Xbox.
And
I haven't played that one.
haven't.
So I started off. Well, I've mostly just done shooters until I started streaming, and then I got into the RPG stuff. But so, yeah, I never really did any of the difficult kind of combat stuff. It was always, hey, I'm good at shooting, so I play shooting games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was never really good at the shooters. It's pretty much everything that existed though. Like I remember when I was younger, it was everything was Tony Hawk. Then it was like snowboarding, and then it was just shooter games.
Yeah.
Like from then on, dude. But I was terrible at shooter games.
Yeah, I was big into SSX Tricky. The amount of hours I'd sunk into that was obscene. And then the other main games I was playing at the same time were the James Bond games. I never started at GoldenEye. I started at Agent Underfire, I think, and then
So
Nightfire after that.
after the N64.
Yeah, because our first console was a PS2.
Hmm.
Like my friends had PS1s and
Oh man, my first was
N64s and
the
stuff.
what was it? It was the Golden China, right? Is what it was called locally. But it was basically a NES. It was a clone. It was like a full-on pirated clone of the NES. Like we couldn't get in South Africa, we had the sanctions going on, right? Because we had a really racist government, so
Yeah.
the world didn't want to sell us shit. So everything we had was fake. Like even our gaming consoles were all fake. It was all pirated. You used to go to like the cigarette counters, right? When I was a kid, it was a cigarette counter. They sold magazines and they had like these sweets that you'd scoop them up, put them in a bag, and then the guy would like weigh the bag to charge you. They sold these like knockoff games, man. It was just like this crappy plastic, and then it was kind of like cellophane over it with like a bit of tape. And it's like, there you go, that's your game.
Wow. Yeah, I think like I had a Super Nintendo, but I had it like when PlayStation One already was out. You know, I kind of was behind a couple of one generation, I think. Um, but yeah, like even back in those days, like if you think about video game difficulty, like I think the closer you are from going to arcades to home consoles, the harder those games were.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. They ramped up the difficulty on those old arcade systems.
Mhm.
Generally, like stage one was really easy, but then like stage two was a bit harder. But by three, it was like they were full on like crank it to 11, so that you would just die and have to put more money
yeah. And Ali, thank you very much for the raid.
in. Yeah, welcome in Raiders.
Also, I have Rachel in chat, my moderator. So can we get shoutouts for Ali, for Smurf, and for Tombstone, please? Um, but yeah, that's kind of the thing. So back in those days, the games were made like definitely in the arcades just to get money out of people, and those first generations of console games that came out were very much still just kind of like ports from those arcades to the home systems. Um, and like stuff like Battletoads, the Lion King game, like they were ridiculously hard. And I I don't know which like did any of you guys play those games like retro like after they were already out for perhaps many years, or um,
I personally never went back to many things. I don't have much of a pull for retro. There are a couple things that I play because I enjoyed the games, but just as like an idea of going back and playing things I missed, it's not for me. It's not for me. I feel like I did my time. I grew up through that. It was a grind back then, and like I don't want to do that grind again.
yeah.
But Battletoads, do I sunk a lot of hours into Battletoads?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of games that I kind of missed on the RPG side that I like to go back and play, but it's not talking about like going back to kind of arcade stuff. I haven't. I think I've been to an arcade like once or twice, and it's more like when I've been this age, where you go to like arcade themed pubs and bars and stuff, just to have a play and that kind of thing.
Yeah, arcades here died very quickly, man. Like
Yeah.
when the 90s kind of came around, like it wasn't a thing. No one wanted to go. It was really expensive. But then there was like a revival of the arcade. Now you can find a couple of them, but there's no games. Like you go in there and it's like those like claw machines,
Mm.
um,
It's all coin
or
pushers
like
and that kind of
Monopoly,
bullshit.
dude. Yeah, yeah, and like you can play like 3 or 4 laps around a around the board of like Monopoly. There's very little. There's very little
Yeah, game
like
of
actual
life.
games. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's like so you both played like at least like some of the stuff like Beltos, like some of the arcade stuff,
Yeah.
like even just in the pub. Like, how do you feel that it measures up now to like the video game difficulty that's being pushed forward by the Souls likes?
So I kind of think if you go back to arcade style things where it's just a joystick and 2 buttons, now we've got a gamepad with however many buttons it is. You got the front, the back, you got 2 joysticks, you got camera, it's not 2D anymore. If you move to PC, you got a whole keyboard, you got a mouse with I've got 6 or 7 extra buttons. The difficulty is I think it's like how dexterous you are. It's definitely a part of it because as soon as you start adding more than side to side jump and shoot, then you're immediately cranking up the difficulty. Like even I'm thinking like the PlayStation 1 Tarzan games where you're like sliding on the vines
Mhm.
and you've got left, right, the camera's pivoting all over the place. It's not just a side scroller that doesn't change your angle. You've got to adjust to that kind of thing. So just as the controllers and the capability of the systems goes up, and they can make games more complicated, then it's not even necessarily, hey, I want to make a game more difficult. It's just, hey, this would be a cool idea, and it kind of
Yeah, yeah.
organically gets more difficult.
Yeah, I found with the with the older games, right? So there's obviously that like aspect of they were made hard so that you could spend more money. Um, sorry, man, I don't know where to put this thing. So if I'm like not talking into it, just let me know.
Yeah.
It was they definitely had that aspect of like they made it hard so that you would waste money. But I also found that like a lot of the difficulty in older games, it really comes down to like positioning and timing, which kind of translates a lot to what we play now with the soul stuff. But it was like you'd push the button and the thing didn't happen immediately. Like there was that delay. You'd jump and some of your jumps to get across a gap would have to be like pixel perfect. And again, like if you get your timing wrong, you're just not going to make the jump. So a lot of it became being able to play the game the way the game needed to be played, which I think translates, like almost directly to playing a Souls game because you don't. you don't get to decide when it's your turn. You don't get to decide if you're going to bully the boss. Like, you've got your lane, you need to stay in it and wait your turn. And going from that to what we have now, if you play a difficult game, like a good difficult game, spacing, your timing, and patience, man, like just having the ability to just wait. I find it incredibly tough just waiting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think now it's definitely more a patience kind of thing. Um, and there has been like a lot of progress with like how games are developed now as well. Like there are certain mechanics in every game, well, that are incorporated in most games these days actually. Like the platformers, they give you the cartoon effect of actually having those extra pixels when you're actually meant to fall off a cliff, but you still can do that little jump that you need to do. And in a lot of racing games, like there's a lot of rubber banding going on to make people feel like, okay, I'm in first place, but I'm not never comfortably in first place. Um, like in shooters, I know that there's like Call of Duty did this. I don't know if they still do it, but like the last couple of bullets in your magazine in single player actually did more damage than the rest of the magazine. Players, NPCs off screen or enemies move slower, stuff like that. So I think definitely think like it's a lot easier these days than it is, than it was. But like the people who haven't experienced those times, like when they pick up something like Dark Souls or like Elden Ring, yeah, they're gonna complain about difficulty.
Yeah. Oh man, playing on the old arcade games like Punisher and stuff like that, constantly being just nuked by something off screen
Mhm.
happens all the time in those games. And that's side scrolling, man. There's no like 3D camera and stuff. So like you kind of coming from that, you kind of get used to the idea that like, okay, there's stuff in this like room with me. I need to be aware of where it is all the time. But yeah, you definitely see those people that kind of like jump straight into it and they're used to like single player games that aren't meant to be challenging, where the enemies kind of like they give you that comeback mechanic, right? They'll like wait for you to do your thing, you know, they'll
Mhm.
wait for you to look at them before they get engaged. At a Souls thing, it's like there's no comeback. Like they're not gonna wait for you, and it often feels like when they know you're struggling, oh, that's when Miyazaki just finger down and everything just comes for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think um, so. My kind of introduction to Souls is a bit different. I remember watching my brother play through the trilogy a long time ago now, and I remember what I can now recognize was Gwyn. I remember him with a big dragon claw bonk weapon in full Havel's armor, trying to fight Gwyn. And my introduction to Souls has been the Souls community and challenge runners. So when I've gone through Dark Souls 1, like mechanically is where it was challenging, but I kind of learnt the behaviors of you give the boss space, but you can bait attacks. You when space is created, it's like okay, this is an action window. You can attack, you can heal, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Learning your place within the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think, like you said, with enemies not giving a crap about what's going on with you, like when you're trying to run through areas and they're just like, oh yeah, 10 hollows are going to jump on you when you're trying to get up to gargoyles or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or, um, yeah, and then getting into Dark Souls 2 was probably the one I watched least because I was like, oh, I don't really like the graphic style of this. And then when I get into it, I didn't know anything about the game, and the bosses were just like, what?
Yeah.
What's going on here? And then Dark Souls 3 is just like, it doesn't really matter how much I've watched it. The only one boss I haven't struggled with was Crystal Sage. Everything else has been like, oh, yeah. There's a lot of mechanics
Dark
going on here.
Souls DS3 is my favorite FromSoft game.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Yeah, like a lot of my favorite fights on there. So before Millennia, my favorite fight was probably Dancer, but Medea RL1 is one of the best fights that you can do in a FromSoft game.
Yeah,
I'm,
or L1 with the year, holy crap. No, I think like because all three of us are challenge runners.
DLC, and I'm kind of like 2/3 of the way through the base game. But yeah, I know that the DLC is meant to be is as good, if not better, than the base game.
Yeah, yeah. I think like as challenge runners, we kind of we make the game harder on ourselves, and I think that it maybe gives sometimes a warped image about video game difficulty. But I don't. I think most of us will run through like a first playthrough as a normal playthrough. Um, and when I see them people complain about like the difficulty in, let's say, Elden Ring, because we've seen this every time. Like Elden Ring comes out, people are complaining about the difficulty. The conversation drops dead after like a month or two. Then the DLC came out, and the conversation gets sparked up again. Like, is a video game difficulty of something like Elden Ring, of something like Dark Souls, of something like Ninja Gaiden, even, is it more influenced by not knowing the game, or is it really just like some people will never be able to do these fights?
You know what? It's so they often before a new game comes out from FromSoft, the conversation you'll see on the internet is the discussion around does it need a difficulty slider? And I would have to say it's people don't know the game, and not in the sense that they don't know how to play it. They don't know what is expected from them, right? You pick up a FromSoft game, you know immediately how it wants to be played. You play it that way, and then whatever the adjustment is you need to make, right? Bloodborne is really fast. Sekiro is super aggressive. Elden Ring, the bosses have really long combos, so you're spending a lot more time waiting your turn. So it's all the same thing, just kind of slightly different, right? But I think people coming into it, they don't understand how it works. Use the things that make the games easier. So like the difficulty slider is essentially how much knowledge you know or you have, right? So you can Google things and it'll tell you like, well, this summon is the best thing for this. You can Google like, well, these weapon types are better for like new players, or you can learn how to build a character, and there's so much in the games to make them easier, or maybe not even that. I don't think it's to make them easier, but it's to deal with the challenge you have at hand. Where a lot of people play, like the way I also like to play, I pick how I'm going to do my build from the beginning and I stick with it to the end. And if my build isn't good for a boss, I'll struggle on that boss. If my build is OP for a boss, I'll just kind of walk through that boss. I don't like to sort of bounce around and try things, but I think for new players, it's probably the best thing to do is to bounce around and try things because you'll typically find an easier way to deal with something. So the games themselves aren't really that hard. It's just that limit in how much of it you understand.
Yeah.
I think they definitely have their own difficulty gradient as you kind of go through the game, because you start off with the first boss and it's like, oh, it's got these 4 moves, and it's pretty obvious when they're going to do them. As you get further in, it's like, oh, this move I've got to run away from, and I've got to give it space, and it lasts about 5 seconds. They're not just trying to hit me with their fist or kick me or whatever. And I think you kind of learn that going through, and there's like as you get further in, especially with DS3, DS2 started to do it. If you go, oh, I like getting close to bosses and then I just walk around the attacks, they will go, no, you're close to me, I'm going to stomp on your head, or I'm going to spin and there's no way you're getting out of this. I think the difficulty is learning and having the patience, right?
Yep.
Because all the mechanics are there for you. It's not like, oh, by the way, there's this super crazy tech that you need to learn for this boss or whatever. It's if you stick at it long enough and kind of learn it. Like you said, if you pick a build and stick with it, if you learn what your build can do and you're learning the boss, then the whole point in a Souls game, a FromSoft game, is you don't walk up to a boss and beat it first try.
Yeah.
Be able to do it. I think you see it with a lot of the new players, like coming in. They'll just get lucky on something, right? They'll beat a boss in like 2-3 tries, and they'll be like, it's not that hard. I beat it in 2-3 tries. But like, I think if you've built yourself to the point that you're just walking over a boss, I personally feel like I've been cheated. Like, I like it when a boss takes a long time and I've got to actually learn the boss, learn its mechanics, learn the timing, because that's where I find the enjoyment. Like, everything between the bosses is just filler between bosses, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to do boss fights. And I want to,
Yeah.
like, I really want to grind out that boss fight. Just like I'm
Yeah.
playing Wukong at the moment, and there's a difficulty. I'm struggling with certain things in it. Like I was saying to Ginge, I think my graphics card is just done, and I need to upgrade it. So I struggle with like hardware mechanical issues, and it's kind it's missing something. It needs. I think it needs to be a little bit tougher. But I have heard like the difficulty ramp in that game is like once you've done with like chapter 1, that's when things start picking up. So, we're gonna see how it goes. I guess we'll see how it goes. But there's very little to like learn in that game, and then I'm missing out on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's like a lot of the conversations that I've seen around the difficulty is like not taking the time to learn a fight properly is definitely one of them. And yeah, not using like everything the game gives you. Like I've seen people bashing on like stuff like Mesmer, definitely now that the DLC has come out, like Mesmer Consort Radon is a crappy fight. I think we can all agree there. But stuff like Mesmer, for instance, like they're going in there with Skadu level like 7 or something like that, with no new leveled up weapon from the DLC, with you're limiting yourself there. Like it's perfectly valid to go into a fight like Mesmer with like 10 to 15 Skadutri blessing with your summon in tow, your Spirit Ash with a new DLC weapon that does more damage there. And I think that's very much something that a lot of critics, but even like people who've played the game more or struggling with, that they're just they like playing with Spirit Ash has always been something like, oh, you're playing with Spirit Ash, oh, you're not really playing the game. But it's in there for a reason. It's there for you to use. If you're having trouble with something, like there's plenty of mechanics in something like Elden Ring, in every Dark Souls game that you can go get.
I feel that's also very much a beginner thing. Like well, not a beginner thing, but like people newer to the community who aren't actually like in the community, they'll give you shit for like how you play. Like, I mean, you guys stream, you'll do something, and like someone who's been lurking in the channel for the last like 200 hours, never said a thing. They're like, but did you beat it? Did you really do it? Like it's just out of nowhere. Like, motherfucker, you've been watching me for 200 hours.
Or like,
And
oh
like
yeah,
this is your comment, right? But like,
or that move you need to roll to the left, and you're like, yeah, I know, I'm trying.
Yeah, but there a lot of the people that tend to have an issue with the way you deal with something are people that are like, maybe this is the first FromSoft game they're playing. Maybe it's the first like Souls-like game that they're playing. You know, they want validation, I think.
Yeah.
Because I mean, look,
There's one-
I'm not really good at these games, right? Like I play them because they're fun. I stream them because they're just really good for streaming. Like people get engaged and like I let people backseat on my channel. I'm probably not going to listen to what you're saying, but I am like curious and I want to learn things and like I want to get you involved. But I don't know, I forgot what I was saying. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. But like it's those people that like they want validation because you, as a bad player streaming the game,
Mm.
or getting people like you'll take hours to beat something and then everyone goes GG's, like it's you did it in one try, like congratulations. And then there's that person like, well, it didn't take me that long.
Yeah.
You know, you did it with summons, you did it with spells, you did it with this, you know, you healed too much, you tanked that. Like it's just they just want that self-validation that the way they did it was better than you.
Mm.
But like if you sorry man, if you look at like the hitless community, no one gives a shit, dude. When you're at that
Yeah.
point that you're running games hitless, no one gives a shit, right? Like however you choose to overcome the challenge that's in front of you, like who you did it. Like you figured it out and you did it.
Hang on, because you say that the channel, that the hitless community doesn't care. I mean, I just see Killa pop up in chat. He was gonna watch this stream, but he heard we use spirit ashes, so now he will be reporting all of our channels. So yeah.
God damn it, Killer.
But Tombstone, you were gonna say.
Oh yeah, what I was gonna say was there's one thing that annoys me about people who play Souls games and will stream them is blaming the game mechanics. Specifically like the reason they can't heal on the game as opposed to the fact they haven't learned the game. So they'll get to oh shit, I'm a one hit away from death. I better heal, instead of thinking, oh, you know what? I need space to heal. Then they go, oh, fucking input reading. Oh, as soon as I hit that heal button, I'm like, no, you were gonna get slapped on the head right there. You can...
Yeah.
I actually bitch about that shit a lot.
Yeah.
But
we know better, right? We know better, but like
it's
sometimes I just want to push it now. Fuck it.
There's certain channels I'm thinking of that I'm not going to name that do it a lot.
No, come on, name him. Name him.
No. But it's like all the anger is based on input reading, and it's not anything else. That's the kind of thing that's like, okay, well, we know these games do that. Like, they watch what you're doing. It's like, even if it's, like I said earlier, you get close, they're going to stomp on you instead of trying to do a ranged... What?
More sort of indie ones on the side, it's a little bit different. But with the FromSoft stuff, the input reading is typically fair. Yes, it did attack you because you healed, but you were the more... The bosses seem a lot more like alive and like real time, because they're not going to let you just heal. Like, come on, man, what do you what are you thinking? Yeah, he's going to read that.
I mean, I think there were definitely some instances, definitely in an Elden Ring base game, where the input reading is a little bit insane, in my opinion. Like, I'm thinking the range throwing daggers from Margit. Some of the
some of it's cheap. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good point. Some of it's cheap. Like if you make that space and they still punish you from like downtown, dude, then it's
yeah. That's kind of possible as the same thing. Like he throws those black flames the moment you press your Estus button, or not your Estus, but your flask. But yeah, at those moments, like, I feel that it's sometimes unfair, but like for most of it, when you die in a FromSoft game, except for DS2, most of it is deserved. But yeah, there are things that you can always do in FromSoft games like that can get you over that hump of being able to defeat that boss. Um, and there's definitely some people always in chat that are like, "Oh, how can you not defeat him? Without this." Like, I've had this like my first blind playthrough of DLC. Mesmer was Mesmer. Like, I didn't spend hours on him, but I spent a good amount of time on him. And then I did a second playthrough with fist weapons only, and Mesmer just kicked my ass. But like my first experience was at Skadoo level like 7 or 8, and I beat him without that much issue. And then I went in again with fist weapons at 7 or 8, and he kicked my ass numerous times. Like I had to come back to him at like 18 Skadoo level and then just do it. And then you have people in chat being like, "Yeah, but your Skadoo level was way too high to kill him." And then I was just like, "Come on, dude! Like, why? Like the game
If it's
gives you the
available
option."
to you right
Yeah.
there, right? It's
Yeah.
not like
And I am reading chat, by the way, chat. But once you have something meaningful to say, I'll respond to it.
yeah, we'd like to say you're all getting banned once the podcast is over.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to kind of talk. Well, I don't know your kind of guys' experience with doing like PvP kind of multiplayer stuff and how kind of difficulty plays into that.
In South Africa, yeah, dude. In South Africa, you just know. Like a dude will be running straight at you. He hasn't even got close enough for you to like consider even attacking him, and all of a sudden your health just goes, and then like you like bleeds procced and like you're half dead and shit, and like all of a sudden then the dude's like on top of you. It's unplayable. I've got some homies that say they've done like PvP and they enjoy it, but straight up think they're lying. You cannot play it in South Africa.
Yeah, you were saying like yesterday we were talking about it. I think that with the internet cables under the sea, that sharks attack them.
Oh, goddamn sharks, man, eating the internet. Yeah, dude, like it's a thing. It's legitimately a thing, dude. And people laugh, and you're like, well, go Google it. Like they do it. They like the vibration or the hum or something of the cables, and then they eat them, and then we don't have internet for like a month.
Oh my god. Yeah. I understand them attacking it, but yeah,
it's weird. Then again, South Africa is just a weird country, isn't it? But yeah, like in FromSoft, I haven't played too much PvP, but I did used to play like a lot of World of Warcraft. Did some PvP in there. Played Call of Duty up to like Black Ops 2. Did a lot of PvP in there. And then the difficulty there, like you can definitely see like who's good at the game and then who's not. Definitely with the WoW thing, like the people who understand their class like to the smallest detail, like they're gonna do massive things in PvP modes. I think it's maybe less evident in something like Call of Duty. Like the people who are quick scopers will obviously like go further in and then get like better unlocks a lot faster than the noobs, let's call them that. But yeah, I have experienced some of that.
Yeah,
with PvP. Sorry, man.
I was just gonna say, with COD, I've played. Well, the most recent one I played was Black Ops Cold War, and I've just played the whole time. And there's definitely like a skill ceiling, and then moving from console to PC, like the skill ceiling goes up again. It's just like, oh shit, okay, I've got to know that someone's already aiming where my head's going to be in about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
As opposed to someone's gonna figure out I'm there, and then the aim assist is gonna kind of help moving. Like they can spray kind of near me, and it'll go, oh, you mean this person? This is what you want to hit, okay? But one of my main games for the last 2 years have been Destiny 2, and the abilities and skill ceiling, even in the PvE stuff, and like building your build and your class and all the abilities and how you kind of rotate through them to get the buffs and cause debuffs and all this kind of stuff. And then you apply it to PvP, where the movement mechanics are insane and you've got all these different classes of weapons. The skill ceiling between, like, I can run around in casual and just slay people because they'll just run around on the floor like you do in a normal shooter, whereas I'll be peeking corners about 15 foot in the air, or going, okay, I know someone might run through that door, so I'll move around this way or whatever. Oh, Discord's frozen again.
Yeah.
There we go.
Wait, is that happening for you guys as well?
Yeah.
So I thought it was just me. I was like, I'm just gonna pretend like nothing's happening.
Yeah, I was the same thing.
Yeah, sorry, I had to be the one to point it out.
Also, in the meantime, Doko, thank you very much for the resub. Appreciate you, man. But yeah, go on, Toon.
And then going into the competitive stuff, it's like, okay, holy shit, like, I have to know. It's not even that I have to be good at the game. I have to have the ideal build to counter what the other team's rocking with. Because I can run in with, like, my typical thing is a hand cannon and a shotgun, so I can ding people from a distance and then finish them off with a shotgun. If they were running SMGs and snipers, then I've got no hope. And then I'm like, oh, I don't have a build to counter that kind of thing. But yeah, like I said, I can go in casual and I can run a PvE build and just like run through people kind of thing.
Yeah, I think with those kind of things, it's definitely like difficulty. It's purely the people you're up against at that point. Like,
yeah,
you can log in one day and in something like Call of Duty and in something like Battlefield, even World of Warcraft, where you're up against people who, like, you're gonna finish on top of every game. Like, you're gonna have the most kills, you're gonna get the most assists all throughout. And like an hour later, one person can join that lobby that just makes you look like a fucking noob. Yeah.
I've got two of my best friends I met through playing COD, and it was late night COD sessions. I'd finish work at 11 p.m. or whatever, get home, play COD from midnight till 6 a.m. and then go to bed. And two of my best mates now I met were like 8 or 9 years ago, because they were people that joined the lobby and I was like, who is this shit? What are you? Get out of my lobby. But yeah, one of them is still on console and I've gone to PC, and playing Destiny, if I try and pull him in, because it's now in PC servers, he's just like, nah, fuck this. Like, I've got no hope.
Yeah, I have a console specifically so that I could play with like certain mates that just either can't afford or choose not to play on PC.
Yeah.
That console is just, it's easy, right? You plug it in, you turn it on, and then you go. When you want to play, like, if you've got the Xbox Series X and you've got it on like fast boots or whatever the shit it is, you pick up the control and like you just bump the home button and it's on, and it's where you left it with that what is it, where like it restarts the game you're playing like exactly where you left off, right?
Yeah.
It sort of save states it.
Yeah, standby
You're
mode.
in and you're in and you play, unless it's a online thing, like a multiplayer thing, like you got to like relog back in, but you're in and you're going, right? My PC, I got to like, for me it's a hassle, dude. I got to get my LAN cable and I got to like run it to the router in the lounge. Then I got to come in. Then I got to turn the UPS on, because you know you can't play on a PC and not expect the power to just go out. So you turn the UPS on, then you got to put on the thing, and then oh god, it's thing after thing after thing. Then you got to wait for the system to boot. Then you got to like wait for Steam to open, and Steam always has to update itself. It's just, and so like I got homies that just don't want to deal with that, right? So they'll just have the Xbox. So I'll have the Xbox so that when it's time we can jam together. But I mean, like this gen, a lot more games are becoming cross-platform, which is kind of cool. So I don't know. We'll see what happens next generation, right? But most of my shooting games that I play, I still play on console. Like I've tried on PC, I can't at all aim on keyboard and mouse, but like it's a skill I want to learn. But yeah, like Call of Duty and PvP, I don't consider them difficult in the same sort of sense you'd consider a single player game like difficult, because it's there's nothing limiting you other than your ability against someone else's ability. So like if you're just the guy who currently is the better player in the lobby, like the game's not easier than it is when you're at the bottom of the rank, right? Like the game hasn't changed. It's just the people you're playing with.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
But I love multiplayer COD, man. I get addicted to that shit.
I'm quickly gonna pick up something of D-Bag in the chat. You dominated with Warrior in Vanilla WoW, but if you dominate in PvP in Vanilla WoW, it meant that you knew your class. Like I think that the difficulty, like with shooters, I think the difficulty is a little bit different than with something like World of Warcraft, because in shooters, like both of you have the ability, like you and the entire lobby have the possibility to like get the same gear, basically. You know,
you play meta.
Yeah, but I think with something like World of Warcraft, and also I think with Destiny, it's much more the choices, the talents you pick, the build you're going for. You know that you have to like kind of know your class and really know it in depth to like dominate. I think that's more of a skill thing, and then this is not to like have anything against Call or anything. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love playing Call of Duty online. Well, I used to. Like, it's kind of fallen off the wayside for me. But yeah, I think it's more in depth than a Call of Duty thing. But I do agree, like that it's the skill that is required for like a single player game is different than what's required in an online setting. In an online setting, it's very much how good or how well is the player like geared, how well does he know the game. Well, in some instances, or like how well is his gear, how good is his skill compared to like what can I do in this game in a solo player setting. Yeah, like I said earlier, like it's purely like, am I gonna come into a lobby with a bunch of first time players, or am I gonna come into a lobby with people who have played this game for decades?
Yeah, it's like the fighting game community and fighting games in general. It's the same sort of thing. Like, if you play Tekken, cool. But, have you played against someone who's played, like, for the last 20 years? Like, it's, there's that legacy carryover. Call of Duty has that legacy carryover. Destiny, not so much, right? Because we only on Destiny 2 now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so like it's a good place to get in, I guess, right? There's those games that they are kind of hard, but they're still kind of new. It gives you that chance to get in and learn it, become a part of it. But yeah, you go up against someone who's been playing COD for like their entire life. Like, there's people that have literally been playing Call of Duty their entire life. Like all those little like young people, man. Ugh, young people.
I think that there are definitely players in something like Call of Duty that just haven't, like they don't necessarily play like the newer Call of Duties, but they stay like with something like the Modern Warfare lobbies, the Black Ops 1, the Black Ops 2, you know, the older stuff that they spend most of their time in there. Like they'll buy the new one, they play it for like a couple of sessions, and like the servers for Black Ops 2 for Modern Warfare, that they're still running. They're still having people in there who are still doing the PvP stuff there.
Yeah, I missed that last part because Discord just shattered.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, I said like that there were still people like in the older Call of Duties that are still like in those servers and only like doing PvP there, and those
Oh,
are
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
higher tier guys, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When they've done their time and they've sort of just gel with.
Oh,
Yeah, it
It's
froze.
like even me, like if I go back, I really enjoy playing Third Strike, Street Fighter Third Strike. Dude, I don't the newer games, you know.
Okay, well, is this
Yeah.
just a Discord issue or is this like?
I think it's Discord, because I can hear what you're saying, Ginge, on the stream when it cuts out, but it's
Okay, yeah. So it's not cutting out on stream. That's just weird. But yeah. Like going back to the single player stuff, like a lot of games these days, and then like I've had this recently with Baldur's Gate 3. Um, it has like the story mode setting for people who are not that, like they don't want to. You have normal setting, and like the easy setting is basically then replaced with like story modes.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, what do you guys feel about that addition?
I don't know. I mean, you know, options, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the options. Let people play how they want to play. So I think it's great, but you know, there's obviously times where you like I don't want this game to have a difficulty slider because I don't want what was it 2018 2016 2018 I can't remember what the name of the different settings were, but I played it on the hardest difficulty you could start with, and it was shit. Like it wasn't tough as much as it was just absolute torture to play. Like there was no enjoyment to be had playing it at that, right? You turn it down to like standard hard mode, and you're like, well, where's the challenge? You know, and you just like, you know, storm your way through the game. And then I played it, and I remember finishing it. I actually, dude, I replayed it because I wanted to play Ragnarok, and I had so little fun going through it the second time that I never got around to playing Ragnarok. But it still had, I think, 3 easier difficulty options. So I know for a fact I would have not liked it on any of the others. But then you've got, you know, I got mates that just really like the world. They like the environment. They like the theme of it all. Can't push a button to save their lives. Like they shouldn't be missing out on the options, the opportunity to play it. But like at that point, it's like it becomes, I don't know. Like I'd rather just watch a YouTube video at that point. Like watch someone else play it, because pushing the buttons and doing the things when there is no challenge, why push them? You know, I'd rather watch a movie. Like it's now becoming a hassle for me to have to do something so I could see the rest of the movie.
yeah. There's sorry, I keep bringing it back to Destiny 2, but there's so as you do kind of like the PvE content, so you can do strike missions, which are kind of like operations in like shooting games, where it's a bit of a longer kind of story mission. It's not just kind of free play kind of thing, and you can pick the different the different difficulties. You can go, oh, there's basically no debuffs. It's just like running around doing the game. And then as you go up, there's like level restrictions. So it's like, okay, the enemies are going to be this much more difficult, but also they've got different shields, they've got different things, so it's got different things for you to engage with. It's not just, oh, we're going to chuck even more shit at you, which it does do when you get to the really high levels.
Do you feel that adds like a replayability to it?
It definitely does, because it's also the higher difficulty you go for, the better rewards you get, right? You got better chances of it's dropped out again. There we go. We're going for the mission specific exotic or whatever. If you do it at the highest level, it's like much more likely to get. But there's also, like, if you're doing the campaign missions, you've got standard mode, then you've got legendary, and then if you're just playing it through the first time, after you repeat it, you can go to master mode, which is like ridiculous. But I find, like you were saying, if you just do it on story mode, it's pretty trivial, even if I'm soloing it, and they build it for like a 3-player fire team. But if I do legendary on solo, then I'm like, yes, this is the challenge I want. This is me trying to do 3 people's worth of work. But as soon as I get into legendary with a friend, and it's still 2 people doing 3 things, it's like, oh, well, the next step up is like, oh shit, we've got to hide the whole time and basically play like a SWAT team. So I think it's nice for the accessibility for like someone who wants to boot up after work kind of thing and doesn't have the hours in a game. And if you want to put the time in, like in a game where there's rewards or whatever. But I also completely see that FromSoft games are meant to be challenging, and the difficulty slider is how long you want to grind and level for, basically. Because if you can cut a boss fight down from, I don't want to say 10 minutes, like 5 minutes when you're not great and doing kind of medium damage, to like 1 or 2 minutes like the Hitler's guys do, just like, oh, by the way, I can stagger lock this boss into the phase transition and then just kill it in another 3 shots. If it's
sorry.
No, that I was finishing there. So
that's kind of a good point, right? The Hitler's guys. I mean, before you even get to that point, the deathless guys, right? The fact that somebody can just learn enough about the game that they can do an entire run without dying kind of indicates that the games aren't as hard as people typically think they are. They just do require a little bit of practice and like involvement from you as a player. But they're played so differently to other games. So like Wukong is super spammy. Like you spam the shit out of things. There's even an ability that while you're spamming your combo, it's literally one button and you get your combo. While you're spamming it, there's a get out of shit button that lets you dodge. Whoop, right? You can get the ability that dodge no longer interrupts your combo. So you can spam it, dodge, and carry on spamming it, and you'll get the very big finisher. So you go from something like that to a FromSoft game where like you can't spam. Like you can't do it. Like you want to hit him 3 times, you can only hit him twice. You're not going to get to hit him 3 times. Like no matter how hard you try, it's not going to happen. They're not going to allow it. And it's that, man. It's bringing yourself in line with the game and how it wants to be played. That when you can do that, they become a lot easier.
I just started playing.
Easier, right? They're never meant to be easy.
Yeah.
I just started playing Shadow of Mordor yesterday, and it's got the same kind of combo mechanic of like, oh, if you get to a certain combo, then now your sword has fire on it or whatever. Yeah. And it's like, okay, you can get into a group of like 20 enemies, and you just spam the attack button, and then a prompt will pop up that someone's going to attack you, and you can block it. You just press that other button, and it just pivots. And there's no challenge in that for me. Like I'm finding a lot of fun in the stealth stuff and like creeping around and getting a drop attack. But as soon as it gets into an all-out brawl, it's just like, look, this is just learn which buttons to push.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no kind of like learning this is the attack that they're going to do. It's just, the prompt comes up and you do that, and then you do a finisher move. Whereas if you go, right, I'm going to infiltrate this base and do it, like you make it more difficult for yourself. And it kind of had me wishing that there was a difficulty slider where I could go, oh, actually, if I do get into a situation with 20 guys, that I'm just screwed. Like, there's no chance I can get out of it. That's my fault for getting in there. That should be like consequences for your actions of, oh shit, I shouldn't have walked around that corner, or I should have watched more, kind of thing.
Yeah, but it also would always come down to how they implement it, right? So like, if your slider is, you crank it up, the boss has more health. You crank it up, the boss has more damage. You crank it up and you do less damage. You crank it up and, you do less damage. You can take less damage. He does more and can take more. It's not, I don't know, it's not a valid way, or not the right way, I would think, to do it, right? So if I was going to implement like a slider system into a game, I would still have it, right? I think the best way to do it would be, if you play on the max difficulty, that's the intended way to play it, the bosses have more moves, the bosses react differently, and there's like a full-on AI change that as you bring it down, it's not just the boss becomes weaker and does less, but I can't think of a single game that's ever done it that way, which is why I've never really cared about difficulty sliders. I just played everything on normal. I was like, well, I assume that's how they intended me to play it. And I kind of just played it, struggled through things when I was a kid. And then, you get better at playing games as you get older. And
Yeah, I'm thinking of
well, after going through all the FromSoft stuff.
yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like, not against it. I'm not against it. 100% not against having a slider, but I don't know. They don't do it right.
What I'm thinking is like the New Game Plus cycle in Dark Souls 2. That there's actually like a couple of extra enemies, the positioning is different. Like, make that into the difficulty slider, because like New Game Plus 1 is just, a more difficult experience than New Game. That's basically the thing. I've always said this, like, Dark Souls 2 as the best New Game Plus cycle, because I'm just gonna wait until it stops freezing here. Alright. But yeah, I always said like Dark Souls 2 has the best New Game Plus cycle out of all the FromSofts. So yeah, add some stuff to make it like more difficult. But how do you guys feel if something like FromSoft would have adaptive difficulty? Like, we've seen this in their multiplayers. I think it's in Bloodborne and in Dark Souls 3. Like, when you have a +2 weapon, you can only get players into max +5 weapon. In like normal smithing stones. Like, if you have them in like the Sombra variant, or Twinkling Titanite, as it was like back in the day, a +1 Twinkling would like able you to summon people between 0 and 5 with normal upgrades. So that, the people you summon in don't just steamroll the game for you. Like, with adaptive difficulty there, I think, if you're having a +5 weapon before you get to, let's say, Margit in Elden Ring, that Margit is weaker than when you enter there with a +15 weapon. Like, how do you
For
guys
something
think?
like Elden Ring, I would 100% be behind the idea. You start that game and you walk into Caelid and you have a shit time. You're not supposed to be there, and you go, okay, cool, I'll come back later. Then you're so scared of Caelid you know, you push on like to maybe Altus and you go, well, let's go check out Caelid again, and there's like no challenge left because you over leveled. I think being open world is very different to a linear game, and I fully think Elden Ring should have had bosses and enemies that leveled with you. Um, whether that's based on your upgrade level or your you know, implement some sort of R level, right? Like an item level on your weapons and your armor. I definitely think Elden Ring needed it, and it changed because it doesn't have it. It literally changed the way I played it. So I saw a lot of people play the demo for it, like the beta. I think it took you up to Margit. I think that's about as far as it went. I saw people do that and struggle with that boss fight. That I was like, shit. Now I'm streaming this game. I don't want to look like, you know, I don't know what I'm doing at all. So I avoided it and I explored. And by the time I got to it, I think I did Margit and then I pushed on straight to Godric. And I beat both of them in like 2 tries. And I was like, this isn't the way this game is supposed to be. And so I actually stopped exploring at that point and I hard focused just, you know, main boss, and kind of just like pushed through the story. So I didn't even get to enjoy the experience because I was so concerned that if I go and I explore just like a little bit, it's going to take where I find my fun, it's going to take that away from me. So pushed on, I went through, and it's only like on a second or third playthrough where I'm playing with someone else who's sort of like guiding me through the game, who's like, they're into like exploration, they're into doing all the NPC shit, they're into like collecting everything. They're kind of guiding me through, like holding my hand and literally showing me like, okay, we got to go do this, we got to go do this, and this is how you do the quest. Bosses in the early game, I can deal with them. So I don't care if I'm OP and just kind of steamroll them, right? Like I've done it. I went through the challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
adaptive difficulty would have been wonderful for that game.
Is it in Elden Ring where there's that one boss where, depending how far you get through the game or how many bosses you defeat, depending when you get there, they've got more spells that they can use?
Yeah, Gideon. Depending on which bosses you killed, he has a different set of spells.
Oh damn, I
So I
didn't know
think
that.
that's a cool way of doing things, where it's like, okay, if you went out and you did grind, now the boss is going to be harder. Or, like, I think that there could be like a logarithmic scale, right? Of, okay, you're level 50, we built this boss for this area for level 30, we're going to scale everything in there by like so that, okay, you get rewarded for going out and leveling. It's a little bit easier, but it's still not, you're just wiping the floor with bosses. And I get what you were saying with Elden Ring, because I haven't played it yet, but my style of games that you can explore is I'll just fuck off for hours and not touch the story. By the time I come back, it's going to be like, oh yeah, there's bosses in this game, and I'll be like, oh, I just not one shot, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's with me with Bethesda games.
Yeah,
I've never finished a Bethesda game, like not a single one.
Really?
Yeah, I just love being in the world and the exploring and just finding things. Like I can't be asked to go through the missions and the main missions and like push towards the end. But damn, dude, you give me Elden Ring and like I say, like it's where the enjoyment is, right? You give me Elden Ring, I want to fight bosses. I don't want to be exploring anything. I just want to go.
Yeah.
It's secure. Wait, Sekiro is the one with the boss rush, right? Like none of the other games have that. Like
Sekiro
that
has
is
the
what they all
gauntlet.
need, man. What's that?
Sekiro has the gauntlet that you can do
Yeah,
like
yeah,
all the
yeah.
bosses. Yeah.
Yeah, like Gauntlet boss rush. Like, dude, they all need that. They all need that. That's and give it to me from the start. Like, just let me go, dude.
does Bloodborne? The dungeons is a cool thing in terms of hey, here's a different spin on the game that we're going to hand to you on a plate that's not just, oh, you have to make up your own challenge. Right.
Hmm.
Weird though. There was only like 1 or 2, I think, that were mandatory.
Sorry, I missed a bit because
It's
Discord.
Discord.
What was mandatory?
The dungeons, they were like the challenge dungeons. They were only like 1 or 2, 2 or 3 mandatory ones.
In
And
Bloodborne,
then you kind of like, yeah.
not
And
a
then you kind of
single,
done.
no, not a single challenge dungeon had to be done.
I'm sure there was one. We had to
Unless
kill.
you're talking about like achievements.
Yeah, for achievements you had to do a
Yeah.
shitload.
You because I can't remember her name, right? The one. She's dressed like, I'm sure she's dressed like a bride, and there's like a
Queen
crying baby.
Yarnum. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't you have to do that to get like the perfect ending? I'm sure you had to do that to fight Moon Presence.
No. You only needed to fight Queen Yarnum for a trophy, but for Moon Presence you can get 4 umbilical cords, and you only need 3
Three.
in the overworld, and in just like all the levels. Yeah.
Because
If you want,
I did the Queen Yarnum fight like specifically because I was told you kind of have to do it to get the ending.
you gotta go through like 7 or 8 dungeons to get through that one. And
You
some
you bang through them. You bang through them pretty quickly, but like,
you had to go through the defiled ones, mate. Those were fucking hard.
is it really that many? Oh man, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, we kind of sat down one evening, just kind of like banged it out and went on. I don't remember them being that many, dude.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
there were loads. Like you had the defiled ones with like where you had like half health, and you had to kill a watchdog of Farron and
The
an
watchdog.
amygdala.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And
Maybe
we,
it's just trauma, man. Now that you mention it, it might just be trauma that my mind's kind of locking away.
yeah. We got a Nixon in chat who says that he loves Toom's dedication to come to the podcast amid an active apocalypse.
Yeah, it's all gone to shit here. We're just waiting for the end to come now.
You guys wanted Brexit. Don't come complaining now. Yeah, so difficulty-wise, on Elden Ring, like for a while I was trying the like before the DLC came out, I had the 165 bosses deathless run going on. Like I stopped that because like I can't do repetition too often. Like it just drives me insane. Um, but before I got in there, I picked up 2 items: Blood Flame Blade and Poison Mist. And with those 2, I killed like the big dragon in the Dragon Barrow, like the Mother of Dragons. You know, with Blood Flame Blade, you get like 90k. Then I went for DTS. Got him with a Poison Mist Threat. And then I went on for what's his face? Full grown falling star beast over in like before you get to Volcano Manor. Got him with poison strat. So before I actually kill, like I mean, I killed 2 bosses at a point, but before you kill actually any bosses in like the first starting areas, I'm at like level 70. You know, and if you put like difficulties like an adaptive difficulty there, like stuff like that just wouldn't happen. Like I think like even in the bingo, Smurf, you were in. I don't think Doom you haven't played bingo yet, have you? No. Like one of the first things that people do in there just to get some levels in is Nightscaff cheese and Kalith, and if they have like a bleed weapon, they might go for like the dragon kill, just to get like ahead purely on levels, um, making the rest of the bingo match a lot easier for them because they're at like level 50 while your opponent is still at like level 10. You know, it's like you can do so much in that game, but if you put in a difficult, like an adaptive difficulty, you take away that, and you actually have to like learn the game and be good at the game to pull certain things off.
Yeah.
But I've watched Dark Souls 3 Bingo, and because it's linear, everyone has to do the same thing to get there. And because it's bingo, you don't have the time to go, oh, I'm going to go to this area and just farm souls so that things are easier or whatever. So that's what I found intriguing, because it was like, okay, I'm going to focus on getting these and stay kind of in the first whatever part of the area of the game. But hang on, one of the last squares is third to last boss, or like Dragon Slayer armor or something. If I pound my way down there, I can get that or whatever. As opposed to, well, Elden Ring is, yeah, it's just it's almost like a hitless setup, right? You go, you tick your boxes to get the weapon you want, the build you want, the levels you need to spec into whatever, and then you're like, right, now I can take on the world.
Did you guys ever play Fable?
No.
I played the first one, but like
Yeah.
never
So
really
in the
get that
first
far
one,
into it.
in the first one, you'll have a mission. You got to go fight this boss. Map, and you kind of stand on this like plinth thing, and you boast. You're like, I'm gonna do this naked. I'm gonna do this without taking damage. I'm gonna do this with this. And all the NPCs in the game, they'll gather around and they'll start like chanting, like, "That's my man!" Right? And they're like super stoked that you're gonna do it. You're such a great hero. You're boasting about how you're gonna do it. And then you can go and do the fight, and you don't have to stick to what you boasted about. You just don't get the additional rewards because you failed your boast, right? So it's kind of like gambling on how you're going to do it. I think that's really, really cool, because the fight technically isn't harder. You just putting these limitations on it, which is kind of how challenge runs in Souls games works.
Yeah.
So like, I think Fable did it great, man. They did it great, because then you'd always boast. You're like, every single time you're going in, you're going to drop down every boast you can, and then just like you'll do the fight. And if halfway through you're like, shit, I'm not making it, you kind of like, I don't care, and you just like put your clothes back on, so you've got your armor, and you carry on with the fight. More games need that shit, man.
Yeah.
Fable did it great.
The new Lords of the Fallen did something kind of like that. Like before you start a new game, like you had to have beaten the game first, like to get modifiers basically. Like, and it can be like, double enemy damage, no upgrades for your healing, no, you can't upgrade your weapons anymore. So if you wanted to change weapon midway, you just couldn't because you can't upgrade it. Stuff like that you can have. Like it's kind of, it is like challenge running, because you're putting those things on yourself.
Yeah.
But it does give like the extra boost in knowing the game, or being skillful in the game. And that's on top of the new game plus cycle that we all know at this point. So yeah, it's I love that in Lords of the Fallen. Like I love that game fully, by the way. But yeah, it's amazing.
I've never done New Game Plus in anything.
Okay, this is a long one for Discord to give up. Okay. All right, we're back.
We're back, yes. So I don't know what you said. Yeah, I've never done a New Game Plus on any game. Like whenever I've beaten a game, like Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, I just kind of restarted it and did RO1. And then like I moved on to whatever was next. And so then I did Sekiro Deathless. I started learning Deathless for Elden Ring, but Elden Ring is like, by late game you have to no hit like most of the bosses. So I figured, well, I might as well just learn the hitless run. But there's that like what, 9 hours that you got to spend setting up before you can even start the run. I was like, I just don't want to do that shit, man. So then it was like, cool, we'll do Dark Souls 1. So I've done Dark Souls 1 casual playthrough, Dark Souls 1 RL1, and now I want to do the hit list, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
You said you want to do the hit list.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, now you now want to do the hit list run, right? So it's like there's never been a point for me to go into New Game Plus. There's always been like another challenge I'd rather just want to kind of get to.
Yeah, I only did like an all bosses first playthrough at DS1, but by the time I got to the end of it, and I was using a pretty meta build with Black Knight Helmet, right? But I got to the end and I was like, I want to no hit this. By the end of it, I was like, I don't. When I was doing badly in a boss fight and I had to keep healing, I was like, no, this was a shit attempt, and I just let them kill me. I was like, I want to be like one heal away from hitless, basically on these fights. And I started trying to do like a no leveling health first playthrough on Dark Souls 3, and then I got stuck at Abyss Watches for like, well, I took a bit of a break from streaming in like February, and then came back in July or whatever, and it was still like 12 hours of banging my head at Abyss Watches, because I'd get to phase 2 and just get one shot by anything.
Yeah.
And you can't learn a boss if you get to the next phase and it's just, oh, you're dead.
Yeah, when I did Dark Souls 1, 2. So like Dark Souls 1, you can level up your armor. I think. Like it's been a while, I can't remember, right? Like you can level it up, right? In DS2 you can do the same thing. Dark Souls 3 you can't, right? I think that was the change. So when I did DS1 and 2, I didn't put points into health, like on my first playthrough, right? So like a lot of things took a lot of attempts, but like that's how I was kind of enjoying it, right? 69 decks, 69 decks, 10 health. Like that was my build for Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. Get to 3, can't level up your armor, you're like, oh shit. Now it's kind of different. And I got all the way to the end of the DLC, right? Final boss, final DLC, and I couldn't beat him, dude. And I still, like, I remember he made me level to like 15 health. And I was pissed off with him, dude. So we finally get back there with the RO1, and I'm like, cool. I've done this. Like, we can get through this, but now I want to do it hitless. Like, I really want to beat this guy hitless. And it was the same thing. Like, you get really close and you take a hit. You're like, cool, kill me, and we'll do it again. And eventually, I just kind of got fed up, and I'm like, shit. I'm gonna have to like fight him now. So I fought him. It took a couple of hits. So like, there's still a thing between me and that piece of shit that I need to go back at some point and like do just that one fight, man. I just have to do it hitless RO1. Like, it wakes me up in the morning, man. I'm like, that one guy. Like, he was the one thing that made me level up health in my Dark Souls run. Bastard.
Yeah, I'm a bit different than that. Like I'm very much a trophy hunter in games that I really enjoy playing. So I platinumed like from Far Cry 3 up to like Far Cry 6, like even like the small installment like what's it called, Primal and stuff like that. I got the platinums there. Same thing for like all the Souls except Dark Souls 3, because fuck that grind for all the stuff. But yeah, so I went into like the new game cycles on Dark Souls 1, on Demon Souls, on all of them. And yeah, for stuff like trophy hunting, like it gets less effective to the leveling up. Like we all know that there's soft caps and hard caps. And again, something that Lords of the Fallen did better. They have like new game plus 0, so that it doesn't get harder, but you still have like the end game gear, and you go into like new game plus 0 to go for trophies and stuff like that. With or without them like modifiers, for instance, just to get a challenge for yourself. But I don't feel like that the new game cycles like added that much to like something like Souls. Yeah, it got a bit harder, but it's basically the same game again that you're playing, and they all drop more souls, so you keep on leveling like up to the hard caps. Like once you're at the hard caps, it doesn't matter anymore really. Kind of like DS2, I've said this before a couple of minutes ago. Like they actually changed things in their new game cycles, which made it more interesting to play. I mean, shame that it's in Dark Souls 2. Like I feel that that's Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring should have implemented that as well. But yeah, like the new game cycles, they never really added that much of value, in my opinion.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
I
I
like
think,
the idea. Sorry, you go.
oh no, you.
I was going to say I like the idea of the enemies being in different places. Like if there was a random factor to every time you ran through somewhere, it'd be like, oh, okay. So say there's like 4 different rotations or something of where enemies could be. You go, oh, okay, rotation 3, which means instead of that guy being there, he's going to be over there.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where I enjoy difficulty and where the more things you can learn about a game to get better at it, it's just you knowing things and being able to apply them, kind of thing. Like, yeah, pumping a boss with like way too much health is like, look, dude, I've learned all these attacks. Why are you making me fight this boss for however long? Just, I've done all the learning. I can't do anything more apart from you can make me go away and grind so this boss is faster.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the knowledge unlocking the difficulty is kind of my thing. I think I've learned.
That's where a lot of my struggle comes in, is just I can fight the same boss and die to it 5 hours, right? Sit here and do the same thing for 5 hours and have a good time.
we've seen this.
But you make me fight one boss and that fight's gonna take 15 minutes. I've checked out, dude. Like I can't. I have no interest. I'm not enjoying the fights. I don't want to do it. Like when you hit a boss and its health bar goes, you're like, oh god, I'm done. Like I quit.
Oh,
I can't do it, man. I become super impatient,
oh,
and I generally play pretty aggressive as well. So like now I'm more impatient because I'm being aggressive and nothing is happening. So I'm being more aggressive and then I'm dying. And then you're getting like shut out by chat, right? Like just don't be so aggressive. You're like, motherfucker.
Discord froze again. I don't know what's going on with Discord today. All right, we're back.
It's the sharks, man. The sharks are naive.
But actually, I wanted to say exactly the opposite. Like, if I have to spend like hours on a boss, I'm gonna give up at some point. But like, I'm doing challenge runs that take like a lot of time to get a boss down. Like with a bow only. Like now with throwables. Like the
Dude, how long is that Banner's fight?
Manus should, if I get the kill, it should be an hour.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah. Calamite was 45 minutes. Or
But
Torius.
that's an hour
Yeah.
if you don't screw up, right? You could
Yeah.
get 58 minutes in, missed a couple, and you've just got no throwables left. It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
start
Like
again.
Calamite, we had like a little bit more of like spacing, but I think the buffer I have on Manus is 136 damage. So if I miss for 136 throwables, which is 7 black fire bombs, like those are the throwables that do the most damage. If I miss 7 of those, I have to reset the attempt. And then I'm using my black fire bombs as my last consumable, my last throwable, because phase 2 is a pain to deal with at that point.
So
So
you got less opportunity to throw, so you want to do the most damage.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's very painful. Like yeah, we could be 58 minutes into the fight and then just lose at that point. But yeah, and then those are the fights that I actually enjoy. Like the Artorias fight with something like a bow, that was just amazing. Like you do so little damage with like a bow or a fist weapon or with throwables, and it's really getting the notified, getting to see like, okay, here I have a 5 second a 2 second opening. Firing an arrow takes me 2.5 seconds, so here I can fire an arrow. Here I only have a 1.5 second opening. Okay, but he's this far away from me, and he's gonna close at distance in half a second, so I can still fire one arrow, but I have to roll immediately after. Like that's the kind of like the things that I really enjoy about those fights. And yeah, like I said, like if I have to spend like 5 hours trying one boss, like 10 minutes per attempt, like I'm just done. You know, I'm checking out. But put me in an arena for an hour where I just throw stuff at him and I'm fine.
No, it's like I'll open a boss door, I'll walk in, immediately like look over at chat, and then die. Like, oh, damn it. Okay, well, just one on the death counter, and then like do it again, and immediately look at chat and die to the same shit. Like, I like the chaos of it, man. Because it's like
The worst.
So this here, right? The screen you guys are currently on is my secondary monitor. This is where I game, right? Like that is my main monitor, and that's where chat sits. So like even when I'm like streaming, like the game is still secondary even to me. Like it's just on the side, dude.
Yeah.
The worst thing is you're going through one of the games and everyone in chat's just there with the emote, like you know something about to happen. And I'm like, can you fucking not let me just? Because now, yeah, it's like you coming up to a boss door and you're like, oh shit, okay, cool, let's go, and everyone's like,
Yeah.
what's gonna? It's like, so now you're just putting that pressure on me.
Yeah.
But back to what you were saying, Ginge, I can 100% get the whole like sitting in a boss room with a bow for a while. I don't think I could do it for an hour. But oh my god, throwables in Souls games, like fuck that. Like it's like,
also,
oh yeah,
I mean, you do that locked off, right? Throwables.
Yeah.
You can't
You
really
have
lock
to.
on
You
because
have
then
to.
you got that short little throw, like
Yeah.
it's just.
so it's easy to miss.
And we've got do you guys know Nuke? That's kind of around the community, pops in and out of chats.
Nuke-san. Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
done like the torch only kills in Elden Ring that he's like beating Fire Giant up for an hour and 10 minutes or whatever with a torch, and I'm just like, why?
He
Like-
did fists only as well.
Did he? Oh,
Yeah.
And he uploads them to YouTube, and I'm like, dude, like, good on you for doing it, but I'm not going to
not
sit and
watching.
watch.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch
not
3
watching-
hours of you like fisting
of
Fire
you.
Giant.
I think that's a difficulty that us streamers have, kind of like if you're into the whole challenge running thing, and you know, definitely something like a Manus fight or Fire Giant with a torch, like you gotta stay locked into that fight. Like if you look at chats, like Manus and Fire Giant, they're just like, bam, you're dead. Oh fuck. You know, and then if you're at that point an hour or like 45 minutes into an attempt, you know.
Yeah, shut down. I'll be back next week, guys.
Yeah,
Cheers.
yeah. I've rage quit one of those attempts already. Like it's
I remember my first boss where I was like, oh shit, I literally can't look at chat. I remember fighting ONS and being like, I would have had this like 2 hours ago
yeah.
if I wasn't reading chat. It's just like being able to go, okay, I'm just focused here. Like, I'm doing this fight, and then I'll talk to you guys afterwards,
Yeah.
kind of thing. But I'm so bad at like it's almost like having one eye looking at chat and one eye looking at the game, and then you're trying to do a boss fight. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's something definitely like us streamers make it even harder on ourselves.
Yeah, but it's like when you play the game, right? You're doing your casual run, your first playthrough. The objective is to beat the boss, beat the game. When you're doing a challenge run, The objective, it's no longer the boss of the game. It's, you know, overcome the challenge, and that comes with additional challenges.
Yeah.
Chat being one of them. I don't want to miss them. Like, I stream because of chat, but also I have more fun doing a challenge run. So it's kind of like, how many times can you screw up your run and have chat still be there wanting to watch it? You know, like, and then that's the next level of the challenge. Is like, now you're concerned, like, shit, I'm not running well enough, like, and it's starting to impact stream. But if I stop trying to like improve, you know, my engagement with chat, it means the run's going to drop, and then chat's not going to want to give a shit anymore because you're not even like putting in the effort. Just the mental gymnastics you do, like when you decide you want to start doing the challenges. It's just,
Yeah, the other part of it is like, say, how long does DS1 take on average? Like an hour and a half to 2 hours if you're doing an any percent maybe. And if you're like, okay, I started.
Yeah.
And we're back again?
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, you start stream at one time and you got like 3 or 4 hours. You do one run, you get halfway through and it's like, oh shit, I'm pissed off. You just cut stream because, or
you can't start one. Yeah.
yeah, or I just like, right, I'm gonna pivot to whatever other game because I can't be bothered. Yeah, I wish I could do Destiny. It's just, I don't know what it is. My PC runs it fine. I start streaming it and it's like, oh, have you heard of PowerPoint?
Oh my god, dude, that was me. Like, I struggled with what's it, Rolana, in DLC, so bad. Ginge, I don't know if you were there at the time when I was doing Rolana. Like, oh,
Seen Rolana, if you know.
Oh, dude, the PowerPoint presentation that was going on while I was doing that fight. It was just unbearable, dude. I was even in like a shitty mood by the end of it, and I don't rage quit. Like, I'll sit out my time. I'm like, cool, I've made the commitment. I'm gonna be here for like 2 to 4 5 hours, whatever it's gonna be. I'll just like be in a shitty mood and I'll just do this. And right at the end, someone was like, just focus. I'm like, I can't even, it's not even gonna help. And like, I just got this one run where everything ran smoothly, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this fight's totally manageable. But fuck, dude, it was probably 4 hours of just, you'll go in and then it'll freeze, and then you'll play a little bit and it'll freeze, and then like, not only that, I had this issue where there were like micro stutters between things, where like all of a sudden you'll see someone like wind up the attack, but then it's like it's on you. It was absolute pain in the ass, dude. I don't know what they did. I don't know what they did with that game, man. I don't know if it's just my hardware. Like, I can't figure this out. And it's now the same thing's happening with like Wukong, just not on the same sort of level. It's like, God.
It's definitely optimization over
That's where
your
the difficulty
hardware.
comes in. Like, we'll just make it harder by not optimizing the game.
Yeah, because watching challenge runners do. Yeah, challenge runners do the DLC. It's like RNG whether or not they go through this run area and they don't get a lag spike and get hit by a rogue kukri or something.
Yeah.
Like, I watch one of my mates do challenge runs, and it's like, if it's raining in Elden Ring, then he's like, oh well, now this run's 20% harder because the game.
Okay, we're back. Jesus. Yeah, Discord is being an absolute bitch today.
Yeah.
But
I think K14 made a really good point, saying don't turn up for the skill. They come for the streamer, and I totally get that. I'll sit in the stream watching someone die over and over to a boss, and we're just vibing, whether there's music going or the chat's just a fun place to be, and it's just the community side of Twitch kind of thing. And I think Hitler's brings a lot of the people that we're.
We're frozen again.
Yeah, so if we do a hitless run, it'll bring a lot of our friends in. So then we're just vibing, having a fun time, and you've got the pressure on yourself, but it's just having a good time with friends kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. For a while, when I started streaming, I was concerned with like the growth, and I'd do things for growth, and the channel just kind of started going up. But then I got to the FromSoft stuff, and I was like, this is kind of what I want to be playing.
Mhm.
Like I avoided it. I didn't get into any sort of Souls-like at all, because I'd always dealt with not like the online community, but the people like at the game stores and things, and they were always the most toxic, like shitty people to deal with, because they felt like, oh, I beat a Souls game, I'm really good, right? Like, okay, but how did you beat the game, right? Did you use the summons? Like, how long did it take? Like, no one goes into that. They're just like, oh, I beat it, but like, you've never played one? Or maybe you're not a gamer, right? So I'm like, well, fuck you guys, fuck your community, fuck your games. I'm not going anywhere near that shit. Someone bullied me in chat the one day to play, it was Demon Souls Remastered, because I had just got the PS5, and I was like, I want something interesting to play on it. They're like, play this. So we played it, and oh my god, I was like hooked. And I totally regret not playing them sooner. But it was like all the people that had sort of come along to that point just slowly started dropping off because it wasn't what they wanted to watch,
Mhm.
So like yeah, people come for the streamer, but there's definitely streamers you want to watch play certain things, and other streamers you'd want to watch play like other things. But it's like Hob, right? Like you can look at Hob and you go, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's terrible at runs. Like, but I'm gonna sit here for like, hours every evening watching him run. But then he gets the run, and you're like, oh my god, it's like the greatest thing in the world. Like everyone's super excited that Hob just got the run. And you're like, was he sandbagging the whole time? Like, is this dickhead actually like really good at these games, and he's fooling us all? But God, dude, like I can watch Hob for like hours, man.
Well, I like Hobbs kind of like Marmite for me. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else who either hate him or don't.
Yeah.
Where it's like, depending on the day, I can really enjoy watching him, but I can like his chat is just like I'm not going anywhere near it.
Mm.
But one thing that really annoys me is like, does he just use his earpods and the microphone on that? It's like, dude, I sank so much time in picking my microphone, EQing my shit, noise suppressors, all this kind of stuff, and it's like this guy's pulling it.
Like,
Oh man, I can't be bothered with that stuff. Like I went and I got the Moto M2, which is really, really nice, and I've got the Rode Procaster, which is taped onto the mic arm, because like I can't be asked to actually put effort into this shit. Come on now. I just wanted this because I like the stuff.
Mm.
But like I sit in a concrete box. There's like no EQing I can do that's going to fix that. I've got to treat the room, right? But I've got 12 acoustic panels in that corner, and I need 24 to go there along the ceiling and like some for the wall here, right? But that shit is so expensive here that I could do that, or I could just buy like a new boom arm.
Yeah.
But then you go like, well, I don't really want the boom arm. I could just buy a shit ton of pizza, and then we good. Like I'll eat the pizza and I won't even worry about it, man. Like,
Yeah.
I can't be honest, dude. I can't be honest. I put very, very little effort into my stream, because it's not like I don't, as much as I would like to have a fantastic stream and like do this as a living. Too much work, man. I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
Like you
I
say,
just want to have fun, dude.
you say that, but you're sat here with the pop wall in the background. Your lighting's good. Your camera looks great.
Oh my god,
I'm here looking blown out to shit. And I look like a fucking skinwalker because I can't be bothered to get the right filter for the LED light that I got for £3 off Amazon or whatever.
You know what you do is just go to like a shit. What would it be? Like a stationery store, and they normally have these clear plastic like rolls, this clear plastic sheet that you can like wrap presents or like your school books or whatever. Just buy some of that, man. Like buy a pink one, purple one, green one, and just kind of like put them over and just see which color you like, and then just go like
That's a
it's
good
like
shout.
really cheap gel, right? Like you know, because you don't need gels anymore because we use LEDs and shit. It does the same job, man, and it's like I don't know what it'll be for you, but dude, it's like cheaper than a can of Coke for like 6 different colors, you know. You got like endless supply of them.
Like for me, like I have a little DIY situation here, like the green screen, because it kept like moving and I wanted to make it like more domed. Is that the word? Like more tight?
Yep.
Little glue clamps, like the, you know, when you glue something together, you put these clamps on to keep it together. Like these are just on the I want to say what's the word, like on the frame of where my green screen is hanging, and they keep it kind of, you know, and then that's simple as that. But yeah, like if you really go into like all of the stuff, like all the expensive stuff you can get for streaming, it's ridiculous. But there are so many like little DIY situations that you can do that just have the same effect.
Do you mean DIY, not DUI?
Yeah, that. Look, English is not my
driving
first
under the
language,
influence.
okay? Like, I think me and Smerf, we can do this kind of in Dutch, because I know South Africa kind of has some Dutch language going on.
Yeah, Afrikaans, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't, dude, I can't speak it for shit, man. I actually get like flack from other South Africans for not being able to speak Afrikaans.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So, no Dutch spoken here then.
Yeah. No, I mean, we know like the general stuff like doos. That's kind of like, it gets you through everything.
Yeah. But yeah, yeah, going back to the difficulty, like I think we can all kind of agree like that a lot of the games, like even Souls, like there is some some concession that can be made on how the difficulty is handled in those games. Like even the way they are now, that people can complain a lot about it, but there's a lot you can do to like make the games easier as they are already.
Yeah, I'm kind of at this place now where I just kind of enjoy games and like play what I'm given, right? Like there's so many people out there complaining about, oh, this came out and it's not this, or games back in the day were so much better, and I'm like, part of it's like, I don't think the nostalgia's gonna like stand up to what you're getting now, right? Because you're looking at it and going, this game's going to be so good and perfect, and it's like, well, obviously, yeah, I get the arguments if people are pushed way harder now to pump out games and make money and all this kind of stuff. But I think there's definitely something to say about just adapting to the game you're playing and not being like, hey, this is too difficult. It's like, oh, well, maybe it's not too difficult, and you've come from whatever, like when Elden Ring came out, and we've said this before, there's so many people came over when Elden Ring came out and went, hey, this is too hard. I'm like, well, if you're a big streamer, you probably come from playing Fortnite or something, right? Where it's like, it's not even the same kind of game. Like, half the fun is learning a new game. And I think you said Baldur's Gate as an example for something with a story mode. Like, again, that's another one where so many people who have no idea about Baldur's Gate or D&D have jumped on it and been like, hey, let's do this. They don't know how to build a class. They don't know, oh, by the way, you can use this ability, but it requires a skill check. It's not just click and it happens kind of thing. So I think there's difficulty is kind of what you make it, right? And like we've talked about that with the challenge runs and saying, hey, I like this game, let's make it more challenging. But yeah, I think it's I don't know where I'm going with this anymore. I've just lost the train of thought. But
So what is it that you guys like? I was thinking about this earlier. Like, I don't really like being challenged in a way that I can't overcome it, right? And so it's pretty generic. Like, cool, yeah, I'll do the tough thing, and I'll overcome the tough thing. And I don't necessarily get enjoyment out of overcoming a challenge. Which I know a lot of people do, and they enjoy playing the soul stuff, or Kazo Mario, for example, because they get that kick, like, oh, I did it, like I've achieved something. What I find I enjoy the most about a difficult game compared to a not so difficult game, you're a lot more active in a tougher game. You are a lot more involved. You kind of have to focus, which I don't like doing. I'm not good at it. So they do help me learn to get better at focusing on shit. But you push more buttons. You push like a higher variety of buttons. You're doing different things. You're very involved, and it's like the more active my hands get, the more I tend to enjoy a game. Where if you play something like Mario Kart, which at one point I was top 3 in South Africa for Mario Kart, like officially at like official Nintendo sanctioned events kind of thing. I never really found it hard, and I never really found it enjoyable because you kind of just like hold one button and then you kind of do this, and that's Mario Kart, dude.
Yeah.
But like I got to that level playing those games because I enjoy. And I play challenge runs and I play, the soul stuff. It's the fact that you're more engaged with the game than like that's what gets me. And like easy games just don't do that, man. They just don't do that. Sims, like you don't get, there's no connection between you and the game in Sims, I think.
yeah, it's definitely the engagement factor. Like I really enjoy Minecraft, right? But I'll get myself to a point and I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, I've done the grind, I've done all the mining, I've got all the gear. There was one point I started doing some cool builds and stuff, and then it was just like, I left it for a week, and then I was just like, oh, I'm not interested anymore. Because none of it was challenging, because I'd already, you get to the end game kind of thing, and it's just, it's, like, I play a lot of Power Wash Sim now, mainly because when I can't be bothered to actually get stressed over a game, I'll just throw it on. And it's just like mindless stuff. Like it's not challenging or anything, and it's not even engaging. And it just like that's a chance to just talk to chat, right? But it's like, oh well, I didn't really stream because I didn't feel involved with the game, kind of thing. I don't like the people who came into the stream were probably like, hey, that was a nice stream. There was a lot of engagement. We had some cool chats. But like I feel. You can feel like you didn't deliver the kind of entertainment factor, right? But yeah, definitely the engagement factor in a game. Like if, I don't know, there's a bunch of games that I'm like, hey, this would be really cool. Like playing puzzle games like Portal or something. And it's like, after the first few, it's like, hey, I know the mechanics. And then you kind of get through. And then you get frustrated on one of them, and it's just like, oh, okay, I'm no longer engaged. Whereas if Dark Souls, you're in a boss fight, you have to be engaged. You can't just stand there and go, how do I do this? Because the boss is running at your face. And it's... Yeah. I'm trying to think of like other games where it's the same kind of thing. I mean, I guess it's the same in Destiny
Have
and
you
all these kind
played
of things.
something like Super Meat Boy?
No.
Highly
There's
recommend you try it, dude. It's really really good. Basically just like a little platformer. There's nothing to it. You've got like jump, run, slide. You know, those are your kind of options. But one of my favorite things about it is when you finally beat the stage, it shows you in one go, it spawns every run you did, and it's just like hundreds or thousands of these little like meat boys, like just trying to get through the stage, and they're all dying and exploding, and they kind of get whittled down till eventually it's like that last guy that makes it through. It's really really fun. But that game, that was like the first real thing that I found challenging, and I was like, I want to sit down and I'm gonna push through it. I got so addicted to that game that it would be like I'd put it on at like 2-3 in the afternoon, 5-6 the next morning. I'm still like must play more, and like you get hooked, and it's because of that hand feel, man. Like the way the game feels when you push the buttons and that like engagement with it.
Yep.
You just do not get it on like easier games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never really got into platformers, and I'm slowly kind of getting into it. There's you guys know Swinkly, maybe from around the community. He's
I don't.
started getting into game dev stuff, and his main project at the moment is a platformer. And I was like, "Oh shit, this is really cool. I'm gonna try the demo on stream." And I was like, "Shit, 3 hours have gone, and I feel like I've done nothing because I'm just like, oh, there's this cool tech, or I, I guess platformers I've played before is the kind of like one and done thing where like you make a mistake and you got to start the level all over again instead of having like checkpoint stuff. And I see people playing like Hollow Knight is kind of this. There's a platforming stuff in there, but it's like boss fights and stuff. So I'm definitely going to get to
I
that.
enjoy
But people
Hollow
playing
Knight.
Celeste, and it's like, dude,
I'm
just
busy making my
watch
way
it.
through Celeste.
Just watching people play Celeste is like, holy shit. It makes me makes me anxious. I'm like,
I actually I went and got this because of the Celeste and the Kazo that I've been playing. It's the Hori Fighting Commander. So it's no analog, it's just a D-pad, and you got like the 6 face buttons. Because when I play like this, but like with it pressed up against my leg. And it's, dude, I like immediately I'm like, cool, I want to play more Celeste, I want to play more Kazo. That I went and got a controller, like just to play them better.
that's probably where I'm going wrong because, well, moving to PC, I was just like, okay, I'm mouse and keyboard now. And now using a controller is so alien to me. So trying to do everything on a mouse and keyboard is a bit like, okay, you got the buttons there. But having something that's like ergonomic for that type of game would probably make sense.
Yeah.
Well, one of the homies, Rick Finello, plays Celeste, does it on keyboard and controller, and I think it's WASD, and yeah, like all the fidgety bits, and he's done hitless 100%, and I can't quite figure out what that is, but I'm pretty sure that's basically I think you have to beat the game twice to get all not all achievements, to get all secrets. It's all B-sides and C-sides, like it's everything in that game. And that was done keyboard and controller, like hybrid.
Yeah, I keep saying I'm gonna do my first Hollow Knight playthrough on my MIDI keyboard because I'm like, hey, it's just literally like I can put my fingers like I would for WASD and then have like my other hand on whatever other buttons I was going to do. But I just punched my microphone. But yeah, I could already see me being like, hey, I said I was going to do this.
Celeste is good, man. It's really not that hard, like at all, until you get to like the B-sides and then the C-sides. It's basically 3 versions of the game, just like getting harder as you go through it, and it's fun, man. It's fun, but like yeah, it's a good entry point. Like if you're not into platformers, I'd probably start with Celeste.
Yeah, I think the first games that kind of got me thinking, hey, I might like platformers and movement tech kind of games, was I went and stayed with my mate for a weekend last year and finally played and completed all the Metroid games that I never managed to beat as a kid. And started doing all the like secrets in the like you got to get the speed boost and you got to pause the speed rush and you got to throw yourself up and to the left or go into a ball while retaining the speed and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, you know what? I used to think I hated this, but the more you try it over and over again, you're like, come on, oh that was nearly it. Like I've always got it. And I think that's
if you
learning the
enjoyed
new
them,
skills.
you'll love Hollow Knight, dude. You'll love
Okay.
Hollow Knight. But fair warning though,
Yeah.
Hollow Knight is the best Metroidvania you will ever play. So once you play it, everything else will be shit. Like it legitimately. Like I remember enjoying Ori. I never finished it. I never really got anywhere. I played Hollow Knights. And then like that was exactly what I was wanting out of Ori. Then when I played Ori, I was like kind of had to like force myself to finish it just because I was doing it on stream. So I was like, I started it, I'll finish it. Like I don't like not finishing a game I start. Well, on stream. If I did it off stream, I don't give a fuck. Like in the bin you go, dude. But like I never played the sequel. I bought it as like a package deal, and I've never touched the sequel, and I don't think I ever will.
Yeah, that's interesting because I was watching.
Here we go again.
The graphics look really cool and like the whole vibe of the game. But if if you've said that, I probably will end up never playing it. I'll be like, this doesn't feel like what I think it should feel like, and then just be like, oh, bin it off. Because I've done that with plenty of games. I'm like, oh, this is a cool shooter that everyone's playing. Or the other one is Warframe. I've got a mate that's so into Warframe.
Yeah, same.
And he's like, oh, once you get to the end game, all the combat there, it's really cool. And I was just like, yeah, well, I got into it and just doing the base stuff. I was like, the music, the movement doesn't feel right. I just don't. It's not the kind of the flow I like in a game.
One way to guarantee I never play the game you want me to play is when you go, just push through it. The end is so good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but I got to literally play the entire thing to get to the part that's fun. I'm so burnt out by that point. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but I think that's true for a lot of like the more online experiences. Like, you don't really play World of Warcraft for the leveling. You play it for like being in the raids and the dungeons. I think the same can be said for Destiny. Like I played the shit out of Destiny 1, but like the whole leveling, it wasn't that long. But you definitely got into that more for stuff like the raid, the end game dungeons. Same for Elder Scrolls Online. Although Elder Scrolls Online, they put a lot of effort in like the whole leveling system. It was a lot more fun. But yeah, Black Desert, stuff like that. A Warframe, I think it's very much like if you get there, like you will enjoy those. It's a bit of a slog just getting there, and then like it's a different mindset I feel for playing those games.
Yeah, one of the games I still play is old school RuneScape, and honestly, that is the one where I am just there for the mindless grind. Like I can throw a video on and just fucking grind levels for no real end. Like I've never done any of the end game PvE stuff. I tried to get into it and I was like, shit, I've got to spend my money on this stuff, that like in-game money on this stuff to get the right gear and all the resources. And I'm like, every time you die, just watch, it's like big line of red numbers of cost, and I'm like, no, I'll just do the skilling stuff. I'm just gonna sit here and
Yeah, that's a game I won't touch, man. I don't. Weirdly, like I look at it and I go, how are people having fun playing this shit?
Yeah.
But I have a, I will spend 12 hours on a Saturday watching some dude's 12-hour edited run. I don't know. I don't even remember what they call it, right? But like you can only move like one block at a time or something. Like every time you level, you're
Tile
allowed to
Man.
move.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tile Man. I watch like
The
a Tile Man
Man
run. And I'm
stuff
like,
is so good.
but like the dudes that make the content like make it so enjoyable, and then
Yeah.
you go watch a live stream of it, and you're like, fuck no.
Yeah.
I'm not touching this. Like, no, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah. I think I only play it because it got big when I was in school, so we'd be sat on the computers in
dude,
the
like,
library just fucking grinding
South
it.
Africa and our shitty internet, man. Like MMOs just didn't get big. They just were never big.
Yeah.
It was never a thing. Like WoW only became big. Like obviously there were people like the ballers, man. Like you had to be a real baller to have like the internet. So like they existed and they played WoW, dude. But like WoW never blew up here until people could watch it on YouTube. Because then everyone like, oh, I play WoW. Yeah, what? Really? Well, no, but I watch like 50 hours of it a week. I watch a lot of YouTube. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it's just been able to get into a conversation and talk like you have played it for 50 hours instead of watched it for 50 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have one more question for you guys. Like, we've all played, a lot of Souls. Well, quite a bit of Souls. And then I'm gonna start it off with a little anecdote, like the God of War 2016. The Valkyries. The final Valkyrie Queen was like described as one of the hardest fights, in modern gaming, so to speak. Like I got there, like I just played that game to prove a point. I did not enjoy that game whatsoever, and I got to that Valkyrie Queen. I got her in the second attempt, and I think that's due to playing a lot of Souls games that I got better with gaming and boss fights in general. How do you guys think about that?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. What you get when you play a Souls game and you find the enjoyment where we tend to find it in the boss fight and learning the fight, you subconsciously become aware of that stuff, right? So you can play any game with the boss fight, and even like Wukong, for example, super spammy. You're learning the boss fight, right? And you're learning what you need to do, even if you aren't even trying at that point, right? Because you don't need to put as much effort in because they aren't as hard to deal with. That you definitely it translates 100% to playing like to playing other games.
Yeah, I've again bringing it back to Destiny. Even Destiny boss fights, it's just like, oh, I didn't have the thing in my brain of okay, like I almost have like an aerial map of boss arenas in Souls games of like, this is a no-go zone. You don't go here. Do not run from here to here. If you need to get from there to there, you go this way. And even taking that over to like, okay, there's a big AoE coming in Destiny. Okay, I can hide here. But then the most efficient route to be able to do some DPS is go this way. Like, picking when you can, like I said before, like you have an action window where you can do the stuff. It might be revive a teammate, it might be do DPS or whatever. But yeah, just rolling through the games is just like, okay, like Dark Souls 2, I played, well, all my first playthroughs, I've basically just done the meta build, right? I was rapier and bow for Dark Souls 2, and it was just like, there's a window, 2 pokes, now you wait for another move, 2 pokes, and it's just like learning windows and timings of things. And like when I was doing the Metroid games, and like doing the bosses there. Like playing the more retro versions, I didn't feel it as much, but definitely the last ones where it's like, oh, we're in phase 2, now we're doing this. Or, okay, now I've got to change my style of play for this one, or that kind of thing. It definitely translates.
Do you guys feel that it takes away from the enjoyment of those other games?
I don't know.
I'll
Like,
tell you
I'm
one thing it
loving
does.
Wukong. Yeah.
One thing it does for me is it.
We'll find out in a second what it does.
Being
Yeah.
able to hyper focus on a boss, and you just see the movements for what they are. You don't take in like the scenery of the game anymore or the graphics. It's just that's. I used to watch.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
when I first started watching Souls, I was like, how do you focus on the boss and not your character in the foreground? Because I remember when I first started playing, it was watching like the character and like, oh, my character's moving this way, I'm swinging this way. But once you actually learn how to play a Souls game, you don't see your character whatsoever. You just see the space you're moving into. You see the health bar ticking down. You see the attacks and you react to them. You don't actually, well, okay, there's a couple of bits where it's like, okay, you have to roll close left or close right or whatever, right? And then you look down and then you look back up again. There's no kind of. And
So I never really had that issue with modern gaming, like, ever, because a lot of what I played when I was a kid was like bullet hell. I don't know if you've played bullet hell games. Well, you can't watch yourself. You're watching the thing, you're looking up, you're looking at the thing, 'cause it's always up. You're aiming at that thing, and you're seeing your bullets come from like under your eyes and hit it. And then you'll see whatever pattern it's creating with its attacks, and you'll know like where you need to kind of move, but you're not watching yourself because you need to watch those bullets, and those bullets are kind of with the fight you're having. And I find like it's because of that, I just never ever had that issue like with modern gaming, because your character is kind of just like there.
Yeah, totally understand. Yeah. All right. I don't have any more questions. Do you guys have any notes left, or anything that you want to bring up?
Nothing from me.
yeah, I'm trying to think of something clever to come up with at the end, but there's nothing left.
Yeah, I got nothing clever anymore either. So yeah.